Hello YouTube. This is the follow-up to another video that I did before, and in this video I was starting to do a 3D print of the classified Skystriker by S3D Toys. You probably saw a couple of almost finished or finished Skystrikers on YouTube, but you will rarely see how to get there. And I want to make it a point to show you a little bit how this print progresses and what to look out for, because the files that you buy from S3D Toys, they do not have a manual. So there you basically you get the files, you get to print them however you want, and after that you're on your own. Let's see how that builds up. What I did is, so far I printed all the major categories. So this is the nose, the lower part, and in this video I'm going to put together the lower part because there were a couple of questions that I had, and I tinkered with it until I got it, I think, to a point where I can put it together in the near future. So all the big parts are printed and we will now see how they fit together. So this is the nose, lower part of the body. But the most important part comes 2 segments later, and it's this part right here. As you see, I've always connect them the left and the right side together. This is where the landing gears will go into, and this is also the part where the mechanism mounts onto, that is used to lower and retract the gear and to flip the wings. So we're going to put this here, and this is the part directly in front of that. This is where the front gear, landing gear, will be mounted. And so far these prints worked out pretty fine. I print them all at an angle with treat supports because the Bambolab X1C does not support printing them just upright or on the side or lying flat or something like this. But what seems like a deficit at first view is actually quite good, because printing them diagonal with treat supports is mimicking the resin printing, where everything is basically angled and printed at an angle and you have almost no layer lines. So this is actually a boon. It's going to make finishing the parts later easier, I hope. Now let's put these 2 pieces together. And here we have the main body of the plane. Now what, in the end, we do have the engine. So I opted to print them in black, also put here together. And this time we're going to need these connector pieces. These connector pieces, you need a bunch of them, and all this needs to be cleaned up later. So I will have a lot of sanding to do. Luckily, the rough parts are always on the inside of the model where you don't really see them. So we put them in here. So just to get a glimpse of what it will look like. Here we go. Let's attach the nose. Here we go. All right. So this is basically the internal length of the plane. Let's measure that up. And it's about 42 inches once you imagine that there's the nose tip also here. 42 inches. So, how do we get from here to the most complicated mechanism in there, and that is actually the part that gets everything to move. And everything that you see here is printed in PLA, but I wanted to have something more sturdy for this part here. And as you can see, this part has been printed in 2 pieces. This is the lever that you use to retract and deploy the gear, and also to move out and move in the wings. It is too big for the X1C, and you cannot angle this in the build room that the Bumblebee X1C has. So the only chance that you get is to separate it and make it two pieces. One is printed flat, and the other is printed at an angle. And also you can see here is that the part that was printed at an angle looks far cleaner than the part that was printed flat. Since they were two separate ABS pieces, I glued them together, basically no, I welded them together with acetone. You need acetone and apply it with a brush, wait a little while, and then connect those two pieces to get them together. It's the first time I have done that, and I was amazed how quickly and easily that worked. Now what I printed is one more little blip here. I will put this in here right across the seam, and once this is welded in, this part is going to be very, very rigid. Let's just keep it here for now. So what keeps this in here, so this slides basically. The rear end where it bumps into is the rear wall, so this is the rear part. And then you can basically move it until there. Now, what holds this entire thing in place is this part right here. And this part rubs, it connects these two latches. And you bring it down. And now this can move from the rear stop to the front stop. Next part that we need is the wings. So these parts, these wings, they attach with the holes into these large areas right here. And here. Now, they do have a natural, when you're wondering how far to take them up front, they have a natural stop gap, and that is this part underneath the wing, and it will collide with the inner part of that body piece. So the furthest you can retract that wing is to the point where this will bump against the body. Now we'll let it bump here, move this to the maximum, and there. Let's see, yeah, that should be it. And then you have these little flat pieces with the two holes. Now you see, when this was designed, they were not sure how many holes they needed, because you only need those two. If you do not use these pieces, this will simply detach like that. So they need to be put into place. I'm not connecting them with glue right now, but this is also going to be welded with acetone. There you have it. Now, moving them to the front and to the back. This is how the mechanism works, and this is actually there. It really would benefit from a little short note telling you where to connect these parts, which holes to use, and where these actually go. But this should be working fine by the time that everything is put together. Now, once you have it there, you can put the upper body part on. As you can see, here's a cutout. So the entire thing is basically a blown up version, an inflated version of the 1983-84 Skystriker, but the mechanism, while doing the same thing, has been revised a bit to accommodate for the sheer size of this whole plane. And this can be stuck in here and then connect. I cannot use this right now, because if I do, it will simply fall apart underneath because I haven't connected this yet. But this is how it is, how it's going to work. Yeah, see, we lost already part here. This will not happen once these two latches are connected. It is a really, really great model kit, but you have to tinker with it and see how that you get it put together in a way that makes sense. And if the author would help out with a couple of tidbits of information here and there, this would really be a help. But other than that, I hope you like this. This is how far we have gone for now, and now it's time to go start sanding, because I will have to sand all these pieces to the point where there are actually really no more layer lines visible. You can still hear them. And well, once everything is sanded, this is going to be a really, really nice looking plane. Thank you.